and it's that space so that we can have you guys, so that we can have something to present. But we'll do it from scratch. So here on my side, I'll take you through maybe the Power BI and to say what is the purpose of business intelligence. So business intelligence basically is about making decisions. So with Power BI, you can make decision quickly through visuals. So example, you see that here I'm just saying net revenue or net income versus revenue, which can be shown by year. So basically, through that, I'm gonna show you that if you see here, I'm on the home page. So I'll take you through the ribbon. I'm on the home page, and this is where if you want to get data, you get data using this. So it's saying get data. So you get data maybe using web, you can get data from Excel, you can get data from SQL, you can have a blank query. But as we're gonna specialize with this one, which is data from web, because there's a lot of information on the web. So for example, stock analysis, investments.com or yahoo.com, you can get a lot of information. So that's where you can get data. And all this is also the same thing. Maybe if you want to get from Excel, but I'm not going to get anything now from cell or server, or you want to enter data directly, or you want to do from recent sources, which I have recently used. And also, if you want now to transform this data, which is this section whereby you transform data into data types, or you want to clean your data. So if you just press transform, it will move to another screen, which we call Power Query. So Power Query is your actual data analysis, uh, data cleansing or data changing, which is part of the Power BI. Even if you're doing it in Excel, you can even import data directly into this Power Query. So you can also here it can give you say Excel, SQL, web, text, CSV, blank query. So on the home as well, when you just press that, it gives you straight into Power Query. Then you can see all these tables which are here. They will actually been imported into Power Query using that information from the other side of Power BI. So you also have a ribbon here which will say home, transform, and then add column, view, tools. So transform usually to show you if you want to change this text data type and all that. Then if you go to add column, if you want to add an extra column here so that you can use it for your data analysis, it can also show. Then you can also extract data as well, maybe with length or with delimiters, you can do that. Then view, sometimes it's about to show your column quality if there is also errors in your data. Then if I go to tools is not much as much, but I think you will use as much on home, transform, add column, and view. So to get out of this, you have to close and apply. But here, because we already have data, I'm gonna just close. But if you have done all the data cleansing, you will be able to close and apply. But Carlos will take you through the whole process of the actual practical way of doing it. Then after the queries which you were saying here, transform or refresh, you also have the insert, which is the site where you want to insert your visuals or start to see your visualization. Then there's also some measures here, which is the calculation. So in Power BI, we use measures to calculate our, our metrics. So there's measures, one or two basic measures, which Carlos will also show you. You can also build your visualizations with this site. Then also here it shows you also those tables we're seeing on the other side, which was the Power Query. Then you can also close this. You can also close this to just see what you want. You can also have filters, which can filter information as well. Then if you see here, that's where we are. We are in this canvas where is the actual visualization page. Then on this side, you also see the data. So for example, yeah, on this table, it shows you what is in that table. If I go to the balance sheet, it shows me what is in the balance sheet. If I go to economic data, it shows me the data which is in the economic data indicator. If I go to income statement, it also shows you the income statement. Then if I go here, this is where we're gonna build our data modeling, which is the relationships between your dim tables. Tables are actually tables which give more information to your fake table. So there will be a fake table which we have all transactions and they will be linked to the dim table. So basically, I'll give back now time to Carlos. I'll just give Carlos now the chance now to take you through what we want to achieve so that it will be quick and will be done in the next 1 hour so that we close everything from start to the end. Carlos, you can take over.
All right. Thank you, Valentine. Welcome, everyone. Yes, yes. For the beginners that have not used Power BI before, you can go to. Okay, let me just quickly share my screen now. Okay. Right. Can you see my screen?
Yes, we can.
All right. Yes, yes. So if you go to, you can just go to let's say Google. You just type Power BI download. It will take you to this Microsoft website where you can just download the Microsoft Power BI desktop, install it, or you can also install from Microsoft Store. I would suggest you install from Microsoft Store because that one you don't have to worry about updates because it will automatically do updates for you when you do your update when Windows is doing updates for your operating system, and you also get latest updates as well. All right. So now this is what we have worked on as our. It's not yet finished, but it was just for purpose of us for this educational purpose, and as what Valentine has pointed out. Please, this is not for financial advice. It's just for educational purpose. Our case that mainly focusing on paper group. Yes, and then we're gonna build from scratch, as Valentine pointed out. Some of the steps we might have to skip a bit so that we will finish in time, but we'll demonstrate everything as we build our model. And our sources, I'm going to show you that we use from stock analysis. When you go to get sources, when you go to get data there, you can see here. Let me just show you right here on the website. I'll show you from stock analysis. As you can see now, I've already searched for paper group. So this is the data that we're gonna use for our analysis, and it's everything that you need. But sometimes due to internet and also some sites, they limit scraping because we are sort of scraping data from stock analysis. So what I did is I downloaded most of the data in Excel format. So for this demonstration, I'm going to use just the same data that I'm just using, but I'm going to use the Excel sheet. I'm going to use Excel sheet, which is going to be loading faster so that we are not running out of time. So this is the data that I've already downloaded in my Excel. Excel, I can also use Power Query in Excel. So the same data that I was getting from stock analysis on Power BI, I can also get it in Excel. So what I did is I have all the data here. So we're gonna use this Excel sheet for demonstration. So when I get data here, I go to, you can either choose Excel. You see here, I have my Excel sheet here already. So when I open it, it should take me through the steps that we need. So the first step that we need to do is for us to do our analysis, we need structured data. So this data, as we scrape it, is not clean. Sometimes it comes with missing information, which we also need to work around so that when we do our analysis and our insights, they don't deviate too much. Our decision, the main purpose is for decision making so that it does not influence much our decisions. So this is my Excel sheet. It has about 7 sheets. So I'm going to import all of them. Then I'll take you through data cleansing before we go into analysis and do our visualizations that we have seen in other model that I've shown you, the one that is finished. Okay, so what happens here is as you go through each sheet, it will show you also, it's sort of preview so that you be aware of the kind of data that is there. And also at the same time, you can also analyze it before you transform it. So just to see that, no, this data, what are the steps that I need to carry when I do my data cleansing before I load it for modeling. So here, I'm just gonna select all of them. Then we're gonna clean. I'm gonna move as fast as I can. And then I'll give you guys a chance to ask questions as we proceed because we don't have much time. Okay. So after I've selected all the sheets here, I go to transform data. It's just gonna give it a minute. It's gonna load. It's taking us to Power Query. All the cleansing that we're gonna do on our data or transforming it into a structured data, it's gonna be done in Power Query. So just give it a minute as it's loading all the data, and then we can start our process. So our main objective here is to show you the fundamental of data analysis using Power BI. It's a tool, as Valentine is explained, that no, this tool is important, especially like our doing financial analysis. We are taking data from it's unclean, or we can say what it's unstructured or structured. You can also use this kind of data for analysis. Okay, right. Everything is loaded here, as you can see. Right, this is the balance sheet data that I have, and cash flow. I'm just gonna try again. Yes, it's loading. I'm gonna load everything first before I start with the steps that we need to carry out for data cleansing. All right. Okay, I'm gonna begin with our income statement. Right, you can see here. Okay. Before I begin, anyone with a question? Please,
Yeah.
just a quick.
We can
Yes.
say, I think we can do the question at the end. It's fine. We can proceed.
All right. So you can see here our data. Yes, at the moment you can see it's not yet structured. If you look in column 8, it has upgrades, which is something that we do not need from in our data set. So what we need to do here, we just have to go and remove this column. I right click here, I choose to remove it because I do not need it, or you can just click delete on your keyboard as you highlight that column. That one is out of the way. So as it's now out of the way, what is the next step? You can see here our column here. When he's saying here A, B, C, 1, 2, 3, it cannot identify data type because it's mixed. You see here, some of the data they have periods like 445.52, which is not the actual data. It's reading or is interpreting this data as a text, of which we are dealing with numericals. It's a numerical data. So what we need to do here, since all the columns, they seem to have this same kind of data, I'm just going to select all of them. I press column 2 and then shift on my my keyboard. Then when I still right click, it can give me a lot of options here, or using the ribbon here, when you go here, you can see a lot of options here. You can see a lot of options here. So before we do that, I need to remove the periods. So the periods, I'm going to replace these with replace values from our ribbon. When I do replace values, what I need to do is we are going to find a period, a dot, in all these columns. So this period, we need to replace it with a comma so that it can interpret the data correctly. When you replace with a comma, say okay. We'll just give it a minute. It's just taking a little bit of time. Just taking a little bit of time. Okay. Replace period, replace with a comma. Okay. All right. What I'm going to do is now I'm going to change this data type. It's reading as N at the moment. When you go to data type here, it says N, which means it's mixed. So we have decimal, fixed decimal, whole number, percentage. So we have to change it to the data type that we need. So we use fixed decimal type. You see these errors as well. We're going to go back and fix that as well. Okay. Just give me a minute. We can either replace the errors with whatever we need to replace with, but normally if it's like this, if you replace errors like this, it's going to delete everything when you see like this. So it's not a correct step that we need to carry on this one. So I'm gonna go back here again. All right. Okay. Replace period. Right. Okay. No, it's fine. Right. Since it's reading everything as text, you can see the first column now is working now. I've managed to replace all the periods with a comma. We're gonna go back. I'll explain why I'm doing this as well. So let me just quickly identify them, all of them as text, and then I replace all the periods. Okay, column 3 to column 7, replace values. We want to replace the dot with a comma. Right, okay. So now, at the moment, since we need our data type as numericals, I have to now change again to decimal. You can see now everything has changed. But we still need to rename our column headers as well. So this data from stock analysis here, you can see we are taking from 2020. We are taking from 2020 to 2025. So the one that's saying is TTM, that's trailing 12 months, that's the current data that we have here. So the data that we are taking is from 2020 to 2025. So going back to our columns here, I'm just gonna rename them with the headers as the years, like here, 2025. 2024. I'm just gonna quickly do that and do everything is done. 2022, 2021, 2020. Right. So for our income statement, our data is now the way we want it to be. Everything you can see here, it was saying AB, but now it's identified as a decimal number, meaning to say our data type is correct. And it will be ready for analysis. Right. So we're gonna do this for all the tables. I think everyone have understood now. Any question now while I just quickly do the other tables so that we don't waste too much time? Valentine?
I think we can continue until the end. I was thinking maybe because we are now sitting almost at 7, you can just normalize the income statement, and then we maybe try to do 1 or 2 visualization using the income statement. Then we can come back and
Okay.
take the rest.
All right. No problem. All right. Since we have normalized our income statement, so what happens is after you have normalized the data like this, you go to home because everything is not applied yet now. When we load the data there now to in our model view, it has to apply first so that it can be interpreted correctly, so that the tables will show the correct data types according to the way that we have transformed it. We were cleaning it, and then now we're going to load it. After loading, that's where we transform into visualizations. And we go to where we need insights from this data. So I'm going to say apply. Just say, it's either you choose close and apply, but in my case, I just choose apply. You can see now it's loading the data, but what you're gonna see now is it's just gonna load everything. The other tables that we haven't normalized yet, they are still as they are. So at the moment, I just want us to go through how we're gonna do a visualization for the historical income statement. Right, it has loaded all the data. Keep in mind that the other tables, they are not normalized yet. We're gonna come back to that one. So let me take you through how we're gonna do our visualization. Since we have already applied, I'm just gonna say load close here. So when I click close, it goes here. This is our model view. You can see in our far right here, the data, it's showing the tables. We have balance sheets, we have cash flow, comparatives, economic data, that everything that we have loaded, and the income statement that we have loaded now. So when I go to table view here and show the data, you can see all our data is there for the income statement. This is the table that we were currently working on, right? So we want to create a visual. We want to create a visual. As Valentine has explained from our ribbon, new visual, right? We can either choose here. See, we have a lot of visuals that we choose from here. So we can either choose a matrix, a table. See here, I have a table, I have a matrix. So let's just quickly say I want to select a table. Let's here, let's make it bigger a bit. We have loaded that visual, but now we need to load data in this table. So here you see where it's saying build. That's where we are now we are defining our columns. So you see here when I say metric, you see the table is it's quickly populated with the metric, everything that is there. And then as I go again selecting the other columns, you can see everything is there now. And the data is as it is. If you go to the stock analysis and compare, you see that the data is the same data. The only thing that happened in between is when we took that data, when we scraped that data, we had to cleanse it. We had to clean it to normalize. We call it normalizing, so that it will work according to the way we want to do. Because if, let's say, in case it reads that data as text the way it was before we did that cleansing, when you want to do calculations, let's say those quick calculations that we want to do, it will not do correct calculations because it's reading the data as text instead of a numerical value. Okay. So we've done our visualization of a table here. We can do extra again as well. You see here it's saying some you can also just edit a bit. Maybe I just wanted to show 2025. I edit here on our we call it a fields well here in the build. You see here it's saying 2025. That's where we have our data. At the same time, we also don't need those total. here. So in this far right, you can see there's these icons, the data which is showing here, and then there is build is showing here, and then there is format. This is where we do our all everything. We edit this visual. We want it to look nice, like let's say here. Let me just show you so that you have something, a point of reference. You see here, this is the data, that's the same data that we have here. Here, the table is just that I positioned it here because I wanted to add other visuals. When you see here, let me just quickly show it in focus mode so that you can see this is the same data that we have. It is or it doesn't have commas because I made them whole numbers. It's fine. It depends on what you want to achieve at the end of your analysis. So see, I've made it beautiful, adding title and all these things. So this, you carry it here in the format. See, we can add our title here. You say, okay, just a bit. Let me show you now. Okay, we are here. Okay, this is our visualization. We just make it a bit big. This is our visualization. So where you format here, I just select title, then I add title here. You type, I want it to be a historical income statement. You can see as I was adding it, it's already appearing on our table here. So I want it bigger, bold, increase text size, font size. I believe everyone can understand what I'm trying to say here. Center it, all these things, that's what you do here. All right. As well as our data types, the values, again, also choose to increase, make it font, you make it, you see, I made it border, that's the same time, the same thing that happens here. And also column headers, you can also achieve what you want to achieve. Like column headers, I've made them border, I can increase the text size so that it's, bear in mind that some people, they have what do you call it, the color blind audience. You also need to have them in mind when you are doing these visualizations as well. Right. Okay, I was saying I don't need the totals at the bottom here. Right. See, when it says values here, I just unselect here, then it is there, it has disappeared. At the same time, I can also customize my table. I can also customize my table with the format as well. Right, text, okay, everything. See, we can also change data type as well. Here also, in the model view, just like we did before in our Power Query, we can also do this changes data type. Let's say here 2025, I need these values to be it's 2025. I need these values to be whole numbers. I can just select here whole number. You can see the values here, right? They've we have get rid of a decimal as well. Right. Any question so far? Just a quick one, just to be sure that everyone is on board. Maybe you can just type them as well in our chats. Anyone is, then Valentine can take note of them. So some of them I can go back to them as we do our visualization. Right. So this is our table for historical income statement. So let's say I want to do a quick measure. Let me just quickly find one that I can just quickly do here. We do our calculation.
While it's Carlos is picking that information. So this whole information, as we're saying, is coming from stock analysis, where you was putting that web. You just go and copy the web link, then you paste it there, then it automatically picks the data from that website. I think you just demonstrate that, but at the end, so if we have time, so basically that's how you put it. Then I think Carlos, while it's also you are waiting, there's also, if you see these tables, the data type on top there, you're talking about it's OAs, which is 25, 24, 23, 22, 21, and 20. So in terms of data normalization or database building, you'll see that that's one type. So you can even change those colors, those dates to be in a column, which colors is also going to show you, which will help us to do measures, because then the data in terms of values should go in one column, then the data for dates it should go in one column, not to be in different columns. So it distorts your analysis. I don't know if you want to continue. Are you now fine, Carlos, so that you
Yes,
can continue?
yes. I just want us to do just a quick measure, just so to demonstrate how we do our calculations. So these measures, we call them DAX measures. It's a language in which power query we can be able to do quick calculations. So let's say here I want to us to have to show to my audience that we want to see operating income. So what I have to do is here from our ribbon, I just say new measure. When I go to a new measure here, it's gonna open up a view just a bit where I can type a formula. See here, just on top here. So I want us to create a visualization. It's a card in form of a card. So we're going to extract our operating income from our income statement. Right. So what I have to do is now I need to let's say operating income. Operating income. Okay. So when I say calculate, you see already it's more like the way Excel works. When you say calculate here, you see already they are popping up like it's a function. Yeah, it's a function. So I say calculate. We want to calculate our um, operating income from our income statement. Already you see here, as soon as you say calculate, it opens with an open parenthesis, and it has values that it is expecting. You see here, it is expecting an expression. So in this expression, let's say I want us this values for income statement. So I'll just say sum, which is also another function inside of of a function. Right. Now it's also pointing which table that I want to work with. You see, our balance sheet table is also showing this a balance sheet table there. And then cash flow, or the tables that are on the far right there. But as we want to calculate the operating income from income statement. So I have to go and pick income statement here. So in this income statement, okay, right, just bear with me a bit. Our measure, I don't want it to be complex. So the format in which our table is right now is going to make us, instead of making it a simple calculation, let me just quickly change something a bit so that it doesn't complicate things, especially for the beginners. That let me just quickly transform my table for income statement so that I use a simple measure instead of making it complicated just a bit, which is something I also want to point out when I do data transformation. You see, we have transformed it before. We can also come and form it in whatever way we want to work with. You see here, it's in this format, the table, but the measure that I want to use a simpler way. So what I need is I need to unpivot or transpose these columns. I want to reduce the number of columns so that it can do calculations quickly. It is also in another form of optimization. Like if I reduce the number of columns, the calculations will be quicker. It's something that is also recommended, especially when we are doing these visualizations. You don't want to go audio audience, whoever you're presenting your visualizations for decision making as well. So what I need to do is I select column 2 to the last column, and then here where it's saying transform, I want to unpivot them. You will see now what happens. I have reduced the number of columns from 7 that we had, it's about 8. Yeah? Now it's 3 columns. So what I simply need to do is I just need to change the column header here. Yes. So it's fine. I'll just say yeah. The value remains the same, and then our metric remains the same. Then at the same time, I need to change the data type for my year here. I want it to make it a whole number. So now that I've transformed the table in a way that I want, and it's gonna be easy for me when I do my calculations, it's done. So I just have to do here, close and apply. It might also change the visualization, which you might have to revise as well, the way you want it to be presented. Right, you can see now, because I have transposed or changed the way the table is, you can see now it's also saying there are some errors here, which means I have to change my visualization. So in this format, it was a table. I can use a metric. After I do this, now you can see now everything that's changed. From a table, we were just presenting it as columns. Now I want to make it a matrix table, which is also another form of table. So since I did that, it means now I have to define my columns, which I'm going to define in form of years. You can see it's the same thing. The years, they just came back as they were. And then now we need to add our values. You see, it's there now. Then I can just go there where I format and remove those totals which I do not want to appear in my visual at the moment. We just want to present data as it is in the format in which we took it from the data source. Right. So when I remove column totals, or subtotals, everything is gone now at the same time. And then I can also make my table bigger. For now, this is a default one. You can make it in whichever way you want to make it. Right. I'm going to come back now where I was adding my visual, my measure. Right, we were calculating our income statement here, in operating income. So let me redo that again. I hope everyone is following. Calculate, which is a function, and then we want expression, the sum on the sum of operating income. So in our case, we are working with income statement table. So I need a value from the table income statement. I need the value. Then here I close. Then now I only want operating income, which means I have to filter out operating income from our income statement table. So after I do that, what I need to do now is to filter, which is skip filter. It's another function. We are filtering in the whole table. So for us to identify operating income, we have to define that. So we are in filtering income statement. We're looking at the metric. In the metric, you can see we have operating income here. So I have to identify it, which I can type it in form of a string, operating income. This is what we want. Only this. So our measure now, okay. Let me just do this so everyone can see. Make it a little bit bigger. So after we have done, you can just select a commit. It's like a set of, you're saying I'm done. You select commit. If there are no errors, you can see here is already appearing here, operating income in our far right here. So now we want to present it as a visual, which I said you can choose to make it cut. So here where you say build here, you can see visualizations, bar charts. So the card is there, which I can just pick there. Just a minute. That one has to stay here. So I can pick a card. Our card now is there. And then it says fields here. I need to go and add operating income. You see here. So since I've identified it as a sum, remember I said it's a summation. Okay, let me make it right. From our table here, it's adding everything. This is an operating income, a total of from 2020 to 2025. If you have a calculator nearby, just confirm to make sure that the values are the same. Yes. So this is how we do our calculations. I simply went and do a simple calculation of operating income. Like I just need this. If you want free cash flow, you can do the same measure, but obviously it's going to be a little bit different. Where we are saying operating income, where we have to do free cash flow and all this, and we present it in the form of a card. You can present however you want to present it. So it's a card here. So a visualization that can quickly tell the audience that no, okay, they have a total operating income of 95 million. You see. So this as well, you can also change the data type of your measure as well. You see here where I have highlighted my measure. Then for my saying format here, I can say a whole number. When I say a whole number, we're going to do away with a decimal. It's changing because our default decimal is saying, you see now it has rounded it into 96 million. Okay, just keep in mind all the values are in millions, right? Okay. Right, Valentine, I don't know if we have anything to add before
Oh,
I can. Yes.
I wanted you to just also plot that as a bar graph, then per year, because I think now we taking the whole 5 years of which we should only take per year. Yeah.
Okay. All right, no problem. So if we have to plot this as a bar graph, I need to show you something, guys. Right. Back to our visual. As I want to plot a bar graph, you can just choose this start. You can choose whatever visualization that you think is best. Right. Right. Okay. I want it to be a clustered column. Right. So since I want to plot operating income as a bar chart, when I highlight this visual, which is our bar, a clustered bar chart, you see here when I go to our measure and edit, it's only showing one bar. Meaning to say, like I was explaining, that it's summarizing the whole years, from the whole 5 years, from 2020 to 2025. So what I need to do now, because I have to show a year, so I have to create another table here. I have to define a debt table. I have to define a debt table. Then I can show you how we come up to have relationships that Valentine was explaining earlier on, and so that it can also we can have our visualization properly. Right. Let me just go quickly do
But can you also just put the hair there? I think it will also pull it through. Then you put your hair in the axis.
oh, it's fine. Yeah, I can do that.
Yes.
Yeah, but it's not gonna show properly. You can see here. It's
On the axis. It's
yes,
not pulling there.
yes, I know. I'm just going to. Like,
Yeah, now
it's also yes. Yeah, this is another form way, but it's also uh, right if you define your date table. Your date table, it will also make sure everything is synchronizing perfectly as well. So now you can see we have I've just took the year from our income statement and put it in an x-axis. Everything is perfectly presented. You can see here when I zoom it, make it bigger. So if you want to see if everything is correct, you see when you go here, as you move, it's showing you the values. Like in year 2020, the operating income was 19 million. As you go until 2025, trailing 12 months, is saying it's 58 million. In 2023, that's where they had a loss, like it was too much, of minus 60. You can also compare that from the table here. You can also compare that with the table. Just make the table bigger. See here, the minus 16, this one, you can see that's the one that is showing. You see, when I clicked on this value, it also shown on the other visualization. We can choose to disable that. We call it interactivity. Like you want them to synchronize, like what you want to show from the next visualization to the other. But sometimes it's not recommended because it will not show the correct message that you are trying to convey to your audience. Yes. Okay. But anyway, let's just do a date table quickly because we might need to use it as well.
Carlos, we are all left with 6 minutes. So I
6
think
minutes.
we have achieved the visualization, we have achieved the tax formula, we've achieved the basics of Power BI, how to maneuver through the Power BI ribbon. I think also maybe you can even add some data points there if you want to show that 19 million on top of that data is data labels. Just add that, or at least maybe I'm closing. And the other thing we can also add is the, yeah, you can add the title. You can do a lot of properties changes in terms of cards. Then also we can even put it income versus revenue. I think if we have time, we could have also run that same measure. See that measure we run on top, we can use the same measure, then we just select revenue. I don't know if you can do that one quickly.
Yeah, let me just quickly do that one.
So just copy that old measure, then you put it there, and then you put it across. So basically, I think we've achieved the basics of everything. So that in 1 hour, I think there might be more.
Yes.
It was more than an hour, but from the audience side, which we wanted to achieve, so that we can show our students that they're able to do these things like this, and also how do you. So I'll just leave time now to questions, so that in the next uh 4 minutes we can have quick questions, so that we can show
Can you?
Yeah.
Okay, can you quickly explain this? Just quickly explain this visual, the one I just added, revenue, operating income versus revenue. You can quickly
Yeah.
explain it as you get.
No, that's good. So, for example, if you are trying to invest in a company, you see that basically you look at if they are generating income, and also if they are increasing their revenues every year. So, you see, for People Group, 2020 to 2025, it means they've been pushing for revenue growth. And as well, you can see that they have been also pushing for income growth, which is the bottom line. So bottom line has been increasing. However, maybe there was a dip in 2023. You can go down and check why maybe there was a dip. But actually already you can start looking at decision making. Say, oh, okay. Number one, if I did have my objective to say I want to look at if the company I'm investing in does it have an increase in revenues over the years from 5 years, for example, or is it investable? Are they doing well? So basically, already from a Power BI objective of analyzing data, you can already see that no, number one, I've ticked that, and I've also ticked that no, they are also increasing their income statement. I think if we did have time, we can also show you what is needed as well is to look at their free cash flows. You will see maybe if you put that bar again here, it will show you that they're actually increasing their free cash flow, which will be used for valuation going into the future. So basically, we already had the decision making, looking at this information in a quick way is a Power BI objective. Yeah, let me give the chance to the to our audience so that they can ask one or two questions which we can resolve, or we can send you through emails to resolve your questions so that we, yeah, you can come through if there is any question from the audience. Just also, this is for educational purposes, it's not for investing purposes. So, but we use this data because it's available in the public domain, and it's easy to find than to get data sometimes from companies. So that's why we use the stock analysis data. We could have also put in the information for the stock information with the stock values is today, and you will see that, and you also see how it's doing. But basically, I think we have covered as much as we wanted. I'm not seeing any hands or questions in the chat or the audience. So if the audience are happy, thank you so much for joining our training for today. If you need to do advanced one, you can always contact us on the emails, and also share another link if you want to do the advanced one, where we're gonna run the warm modeling from scratch until do the valuation and also see you decision making, but using a Power BI, not Excel. So if you see, Carlos, you can go back to the other file which we have done. It was still in progress. The one for the people group. You see there's a lot of measures we're doing, like present value of net cash flow, like your operation growth for 5 years, your annual growth, your future growth, the enterprise value. All these were done in Power BI. And you see also we try to do some comparatives that maybe in terms of people group against its comparatives like Zeta, how are they performing? And you see that also that stock data, the price cents per year, you see that it's around 2.0 cent, 2 rand 05 cents. And also it's expected to grow to around 3.1. You see that brown part, it shows you that it's gonna probably go there or it can go down. So from a decision making, you start seeing that I can look at this information and it can help me. The intrinsic value is the valuation. You can see that it's 3.67, which was down, and against your 2 rand, you already see that the stock is undervalued. So I can try and buy. However, this is not a financial advice, but an educational purpose video. Thank you very much for joining. I think we have come to an end of our meeting. Carlos, you can stop the recording. Thank you guys for joining.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Yeah.
Right. Did you stop recording?
Yes, yes.
Oh, okay. Thanks. Thanks.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye. I think we can close the meeting. I can call you on the other end.
Okay, sure.